Hole more putts, shoot lower scores. It really is as simple as that. So in this video, we've teamed up with Cobra Golf and putting specialist Jamie Donaldson to bring you the 8 things all good putters do. We're going to show you how to strike your putts correctly, read greens properly, but more importantly, match up the correct line and pace so you can become a master on the greens. We're here at the amazing Tavistock short game area at Woburn Golf Club. Let's get into it.
One thing that all good putters do is hit the ball out the centre of the putter face, and this is your sweet spot. So this drill is going to help you get more balls coming out of the sweet spot of your putter. And what I've got 2 tee pegs just the width of my putter head here, and obviously the ball's going to sit right in the middle of these 2. And I'm going to set up, and with just enough room to get my putter through, I can really work on controlling that sweet spot. So I know that if I hit the tee peg nearer to me, the putter's too close. And if I hit the tee peg further away from me, the putter's got away from me. So managing the sweet spot with 2 tee pegs. Also, we can look at our angle of attack. Having your ball position too far forward is going to cause the club to come up and left. And that's really going to impact the quality of your strikes. If our ball position is too far backwards, we get very steep and the putter's moving away from you. So there is no perfect ball position, but you'll find some of the best players in the world go from centre of the stance to just forward. Now, Cobra's descending loft technology is going to help you if your angle of attacks are poor. They go from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 degrees. And this is going to really help to save you sometimes if your angle attack is out of kilt. But if you keep an eye on your ball position, keep a consistent ball position and one that works for you, you're going to putt a lot better. Another thing that all good putters do is control their stroke lengths and their tempo. And for this drill, you're going to need a ruler, some golf balls, and markers at 10, 20, and 30 feet. And what we want to do is to work out what kind of stroke length you're using for 10 foot, and then how to lengthen it for 20 and 30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a 10-foot putt. Okay, so at the corner of my eye, I could see that that stroke length was 12 inches long. So I'm just going to pop a marker into there. Now the way this works is your putter has 12 inches to travel back to impact, and the time you do this will affect how far the ball rolls. So my forward time was very much field based, and I want you to find out what your field based forward time is. But once we know what our stroke length is for 10 foot, we can add 50% for 20 foot, and then another 50% will take us to the 30-foot mark. And now I'm going to play these 3 putts. I'm going to start with the 10-footer again. I'm just going to get a feel for my stroke length and that all-important forward time. And if I hit my putt. Okay, so that's a perfect match. All I'm going to do now is lengthen my backswing, but keep that same forward time. Okay, now I've got the feel, I can step in and play. So this is our 20-footer. And then we lengthen it to the 30-footer. And this always feels really long to me, so don't be surprised if this backswing feels much longer than what you're using. But the important thing is once I've got my stroke length figured out, I've got to play my forward action in the same time as the others. So let's take us to 30 feet now. Okay, so that's a great way of you controlling your swing length and your forward time. And this is a great warm-up drill before you play golf. And remember, green speeds change, so you've got to do something different when you're playing on different speed greens. So we're controlling the strike, we're in charge of our ball position, and we've got a way of practicing speed control on a regular area on the golf course. But you're also going to be faced with steep up and downhill putts. And what good putters do is they adjust their stroke length and their tempo to suit what they're faced. Right here, I've got a very steep downhill putt, and I'd like to take you through my process for dealing with this. So I'm going to change my stroke length first of all. It has to be shorter. we can't use our normal length backswing, but also I can change my tempo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take even longer to get back to impact. I'm going to shorten my backswing and I'm going to slow down my forward time. What I'm doing is I'm just going to move it around till it feels correct for this putt. Once I'm happy with my 2 changes, I can then go ahead and play. Let's just do that again. I'm going to work out how long I should swing it, what sort of forward time is appropriate. Now I've got that feel, I can set up and play my putt. And there we go. That's a putt that would scare a lot of people. I finished about 14 inches past, which is ideal. But what I haven't done is left myself with a horrible second putt. When you're putting uphill, you could swing it longer and quicker. Obviously, it all depends on how steep is the green and the speed of it. But that's what I want you to go and find out what works best for you. Change your stroke length, change your tempo, get some control on these up and downhill putts. One thing that all good putters do is they get their face square to their start line. And they make sure they do this in several ways. And we'll look at some more in the next couple of videos. But what you could do is use the technology that's been built into the putters to help you do this. And we need to get our face square to our line. And the putter face is pretty much 93% in charge of where the ball finishes. Now you'll notice that when you look at Cobra's range of putters, you have long solid lines, dots, dots and lines, 3 lines. You have some putters that have no markings on at all. And different people are going to be able to square up different putters. And you've got to find the one that suits you best. Now it's important to mention that 1 degree outer impact will get you hitting the edge of the hole at 5 feet. So at 5 foot, if you're 1 degree out, there's a good chance of you missing. And if I set up square to this putt here, and I'm just going to open my face just a tiny amount. Now I'm going to play the putt. Okay, and that's hit the right edge. Definitely at least a degree open, that one. And now we'll play at this putt. I'm going to set up aiming well, and I'm just going to change that putter face just a fraction. There we go, hit the left side. So it's very important for us to get that putter face absolutely square at impact. So I'm aiming square, I'm going to keep it square. There we go, middle of the cup. Keep watching, because that was me aiming naturally, but we're going to look into using a line on the ball or even picking a spot on the green to help you square up that face. Another thing good putters do, and you'll have seen this on television, is they help themselves aim, and that might be by using a line on the ball or picking a spot which is just in front of the ball they're going to play. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of helping you aim. Now it's important to remember that when we use a line on a ball, when you address it, it probably won't look good. So if you do use a line on a ball, you've got to trust it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, I'm going to line up the ball that I've already put my line on. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to use the shaft just to check if my alignment's good. If I'm not happy, I can just tweak that ball, but I'm happy with it where it is. I'm going to come in here. I've got a nice long line on the back of my putter here, which matches the golf ball. So I'm going to match these 2 up and play my putt. And it's important when you're set up to these balls that you don't worry about does it look correct. The reason you're using a line is because you can't aim without one. So we've matched the 2 up. And there we go. But some people don't want to use a line on a ball. They're going to be the guys that pick a spot between the ball and the hole. So if I take a step back again and use the shaft here, I can put a marker on the floor which is about 10 inches in front of the ball. It's important not to have this later on in the putt because that putt's going to be breaking. In fact, the ball starts breaking pretty quickly, so make sure that your spot is no more than 10 inches in front of you. And if I come back here again and just check, yep, I like that. That's exactly where I want to hit the putt. I'm just relying on the club face and the markings, sometimes the shape of the putter here to aim. And I'm going to make sure that I hit my putt over that spot. The picking a spot technique works fantastic. Unfortunately, you can only use a marker when you're practicing. And when you're on the golf course or in a competition, you're going to have to find a blade of grass or a blemish that you can use to help you with your aim. Find the one that suits you best and add it into your pre-putt routine. Another thing good putters do is they miss their long putts closer, and it's always going to be better to have an overread. So good players might add something to their long putt reads because they know that a putt that's coming down from a higher position is going to finish closer. So what I've done here is I've set up 3 balls. One of them is a 1 foot under read. The next ball up the slope is the correct read, and then I've added a foot, which gives us a 1 foot over read. So let's have a look and see where these putts finish. And if I play the under read, we can see here that that ball's breaking a lot more, and that's left me with quite a tough second putt. That's about a 5 or a 6 foot putt, and you're always going to feel the need to hit those under reads harder. Your instincts are going to kick in a bit more. So if you hit a lot of putts way past the hole on long putts, that could be something you're doing. Now we're going to play to the correct read. Okay, that was a good read. That had a lot of chance of going in. And now we're going to play the 1 foot over read, and it's quite difficult to get people confident with aiming away from the hole, but it's going to help you miss closer. So let's have a look and see where this over read finishes. Okay, so we can see from where those golf balls finished that the under read has left me with a nasty putt. The good read nearly went in, but the over read has also finished very, very close. So you need to get a bit more comfortable with aiming higher, even higher than you think you need to, especially on long putts. If you want to get rid of those 3 putts, finish closer to the hole. Another thing that good golfers do is they read putts correctly. And one thing you could do to help you read putts better is to use AimPoint. And we're feeling the slopes, and as I stand here and here, there's a lot of weight on my right foot, so I know this is going to be a quite aggressive break from left to right. So I'm just going to adjust my aim accordingly. Okay, so that putt was breaking left to right. Now if I come into this one, I can't feel anything, so this is going to be a pretty straight putt. There's not going to be a lot of break on this one. Okay, nearly. And the important thing here is I've now got the weight moving onto my left side. So this is a right to left breaking putt. So I'm going to allow for a bit of break. There we go. So just feeling the slope and understanding which way is downhill is going to help you aim your putts better. If you feel a lot of slope, there's a lot of break. If you don't feel much, it's a pretty straight putt. The last thing that good putters do is they understand that downhill putts break more than uphill putts. So we've got 2 putts here that are on the same amount of slope from the same distance. One of them is downhill, one of them is uphill. Now the reason for this is putts that are rolling downhill actually roll slower. And when they roll for longer, gravity can be more effective and they break more. So we've got the correct read here for this putt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit to it. So a downhill putt rolls slower, breaks more. I'm just going to aim outside of that marker there. Okay, so there's the downhill putt, and you could see that I started that outside of the standard read for that amount of slope. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go and look at the uphill version. So now we have the same length putt, but this time it's uphill. And we're going across exactly the same percentage of slope. So we've kept the aim that would be correct, but because it's so far uphill, I'm now going to aim inside that marker. So we're aiming about halfway between the hole and the cup. Okay, so we can see that broke a lot less. So if you're putting uphill, you're going to have to reduce the amount of break you allow for because you're hitting the putts firmer. They get there quicker.
So there you have it. Hopefully by incorporating some of the advice from Jamie in this video, you'll start to see your ball disappear far more often on the greens. And if you're interested in trying some of the Cobra putters out for yourself, especially the 3D printed models like this limited edition Enzo here, be sure to check out the Cobra website.